One left to jump in the game, Spirit, and Pulatug is half a length up on Altior. Nico de Bonville lets out a little bit of rain, and Altior, he cruises up to Pulatug, eyeballs him. Nico, he asks him to go. Whoosh! Altior has gone 5 lengths clear, jumping the last in a matter of strides. He's back! Cha-cha-cha-cha! Altior is back! Good evening, everyone. Hope you're having a great night. Blogsy here. Sorry about that intro. I'm a little bit G'd up for the return of King Altior. He's going to absolutely bash Pulatug up. The champ is back. The real champ, bam, is back. Anyway, talking about Newbury's cards, 7 races, some cracking stuff. Shame about the small fields, but at least we got a bit of quality. Great stuff over at Warwick as well, and a lovely little mare's chase at Nace. Dinara de Zobo is back, taking on one of Willie Mullins's apparently best mares. But we'll get to that later on in the programme. Let's kick off with the Newbury card. The 1:15 is a 2-mile novice hurdle, and Nicky Henderson, a man in red hot form, has the standout contender in the shape of What's Wrong With You. Now, if you know your form book, you know that this horse beat one of Nicky's called OK Corral, who went over to Kempton today and basically pissed in. The form looks rock solid. He's a course and distance winner. He comes here in tip-top form. The yard are flying. The second fab, Air Navigator, has never even ran over hurdles yet. Obviously has a lot of potential, but has proved absolutely nothing. They bet 8-11 on What's Wrong With You, 9-2 Air Navigator, 9-2 Rock Point, 14-1 Bar. And for me, this is pretty much What's Wrong With You's races to lose. You know, he's a course and distance winner, huge chance, has form on soft ground, and I'd be very disappointed if he doesn't get favourite backers off to a good start and get Nicky off to a good start. That's Nico, Nicky, and What's Wrong With You to do the business in the first. The 150 at Newbury is a 3-mile handicap hurdle. It's for horses rated 0 to 145, and it sees the return of Barter's Hill, one of the biggest, strongest horses in training. And, you know, off a mark of 142, your first thoughts are, well, fuck me sideways. This horse is a good thing. But you've got to remember, he's been off for 456 days. He had quite a nasty injury when he pulled up at Cheltenham back on the 11th of November 2016. And the truth of the matter is, you just don't know how that injury is going to have taken its toll on Barter's Hill. And you don't know if he's going to be 110% fit. Ben's apparently given him all the time in the world. The vibes are good. You know, he's your current 3-1 favourite. King Uther 11-2. Lufderg Farmer 11-2. He's been backed in from 8s already from Nicky Henderson. Bastion 6s. Talk is Cheap 9s. And Book of Gold is available at 10-1. But, you know, you look at some of the horses that Barter's Hill has beaten, and he absolutely destroyed Pulatug in the shallow hurdle by 12 lengths. You know, that was super impressive. And obviously he's beaten Bouvedere and Altior in a bumper. So we know on his day he's one hell of a high-class horse, and he could absolutely win this race in a canter before going back on to better things. But he won't be carrying my money. I don't like backing horses after long layoffs, especially when they've had serious injuries. Instead, I'm going to be backing a horse at 10-1, Book of Gold for Oliver Sherwood, a trainer who didn't have the best of years last year. He's come back into some better form this year, and this lightly raced novice hurdler is having his first run in a handicap hurdle off a mark of 1-2-3. Now, if you go back to the 20th of December, he ran in the 2.5-mile novice hurdle behind the likes of Mr. Whipped, who's come out and won, Go With The Flow, who's come out and won, Melrose Boy, who's come out and won. I'm sure you're getting the drift here. That form line at Newbury over 2.5 miles is bloody strong. And Oliver Sherwood's one of those trainers who's very shrewd in the placement of his horses. He gets in here off a very light weight, 10 stone 4. He was second on the 9th of January behind Tommy Rapper off level weights. That horse is rated 130. Pushed him all the way that day to the last. Stepping up in trip today to 3 miles, which should suit the horse. And Tommy Rapper obviously went on and franked the form by winning again at Toaster. So I've got a sneaky feeling Book of Gold could be a fair each way punt here at 10-1 for Oliver Sherwood. And that's the 150 at Newbury. Obviously it would be great to see Barter's Hill win, but do you really want to be putting your money on a horse who hasn't run for such a long time? The 225 is the Denman chase run over 3 miles, and it sees the return of Native River for Colin Tizard, who admittedly hasn't had the best of seasons. Injuries to Thistlecrack. Finian's Oscar hasn't been campaigned in the best of lights. 1 minute he's over chases, 1 minute he's over hurdles. You just don't know where the horse is going to run next. But in Native River, they've got a genuine top-class horse. Now, he hasn't got the best of records fresh, but he's only got 2 opponents. Sapphire Daru for me, I'm ruling him out straight away. Paul Nicholls said in his blog, he's likely to need the run. He's a bit burly. For me, that means one thing, he's a no-go. When we last saw Native River, he was 3rd to Sizing John in the Gold Cup. In his last 3 runs at Newbury, he's won all 3 of them. He obviously loves the track. He may not go well the best fresh, but I think Colin Tizard is under pressure, and I'd say he'd want this horse running very close to his peak today. It's a decent little pot with 30 grand going to the winner. It's not to be sniffed at. Hopefully he can bully his rivals from the front and do it the hard way. Main Danger, Cloudy Dream, has to prove he truly stays 3 miles on soft ground. Second behind, Definitely Red at Aintree with 3 mile 1 on heavy last time out. And then he's second to Fox Norton, second to Smad Place. If he was truly top class, I'd expect him to beat horses like Smad Place, but he hasn't. Second behind Altior last year in the Arkle. He's a high class horse, and it would be amazing, obviously, for the late Malcolm Jefferson, Ruth the new trainer, taking over there if they were to scoop a good big pot. But for me, it's all about Native River, an 8-year-old going places, top rated in the race. I think he can bully his rivals from the front. 10 to 11 on at the moment. Cloudy Dream 9 to 4. Sapphire Daru available at 9 to 2. Pure 2-horse race in my book. But I think Native River will come back, and he'll come back with a bang and do the business. Richard Johnson, a power-packed ride from the front. The River should win. The 3 o'clock sees the return of Altior in the Game Spirit run over 2 miles. He's in here off level weights in what is effectively a match against Pulatug. It's an interesting race. Altior, he's been off with the wind problem, but Nicky said he never really missed too much time. It was nothing too serious. And let's be honest here, if he's back to anywhere near his best, he picks Pulatug up, he eyeballs him in the last furlong, laughs at him and cruises clear. He's one of the most special 2-milers I've seen, and he reminds me very much of Sprinter Sacra. Pulatug has done a great job for Paul Nicholls this year, continuing to improve. Went out to Exeter that day when I tipped him up. He won the Holden Gold Cup at 5 to 2. Went on to win the Tingle Creek, beating Fox Norton by half a length, with Ahmad 5 lengths back in 3rd. Surprised me that day. He does want an end-to-end gallop, and Paul Nicholls has stressed this in his blog, and I can't see where he's getting that from. Just the 3 runners. Valdez, an old 11-year-old. He's going to pick up some decent money, I suppose, for finishing 3rd, but I can only see one thing. Altior tracking Pulatug over the last 2 furlongs. He just quickens clear and picks him up. This horse, the way he won the Arkle was just super impressive last year. Again, when he won here, the Game Spirit the year before, he hammered Fox Norton by 13 lengths, receiving £5, but could have given him 15 and battered him senseless. He's hammered Cloudy Dream in the Arkle, and for me, he's a special horse. Destroyed Special Chiara on ground that would have suited him as a novice. Altior really is and could be anything. Hopefully he stays sound, and all roads lead to the Champion Chase, where we could see him in a rematch or a match-up against Duvan, and what a treat that would be. For me, the champ will win. He will win in good fashion. Pulatug will run an admirable, honest race, but fingers crossed we get to see the superstar batter Pulatug tomorrow, and I can't wait to be in the winner's enclosure there watching the horse come in, and it should be a good buzz. I want to see these good horses win. It feels good when the superstars win. It builds up the whole kind of Cheltenham bravado, and hopefully the mighty machine wins. The 3:35, now you've got 26 runners and there's so much untapped potential. The big 2-mile hurdle, and it's an interesting race as always. 10 to 1. Co-favourites of about 50 here. Irish Road 10 to 1, Jenkins 10s, Kalashnikov. Hopefully you all enjoyed the Amy Murphy piece during the week. He's in amazing form, that horse, but he doesn't want any rain. 12 to 1, Cape Grace 12s, Not Nernest 12s, and the horse that I tipped up during the week at 19 to 1, I've had half a point each way, which is up on the page, is Verdana Blue. And I'm delighted to see Davy Russell booked, Lahore's 14s, and then basically I'm not going to go through the rest because there's far too many. But let me talk to you about why I've tipped Verdana Blue. She's a mare who apparently works the house down at Nicky Henderson's yard. She can go with pretty much any horse in the yard. What we don't want is rain, and unfortunately there has been rain, and I'm afraid it may have scuppered my bet. There's not a lot we can do at this stage. She's off a 1.45. Now, she ran at Ascot last time behind Hunter's Call. She wasn't given the best of rides behind Ollie Murphy's horse. She came super wide all the way around, 6-7 horses wide, and was only beaten 4 lengths. She's off a 1.45, and I think she's capable of winning. But again, I am very worried about the ground. You look at the way she beat Spiridic, who's gone on to improve by £20 in that race at Ascot on the 24th. That's no mean feat at all. She's a mare going places, and hopefully the rain hasn't ruined our chances. Talking about Amy Murphy's star Kalashnikov now, she said to me there, you know, he's not going to be rated 141 for much longer. He lost a shoe in the Tolworth. He hated that heavy, sticky ground. And seeing him in the flesh, you realise what a big, powerful, strong, scopy horse is. He's going to be a far better chaser than he is hurdler. And if there isn't too much rain, if it isn't too soft, expect to see this horse run a very, very big race indeed. Kalashnikov. I have to say, I'm quite surprised to see Irish Row favourite the Maria's Benefit form line. I think, you know, Kieran Gethings went off far too fast that day, and I couldn't really be having Irish Row. Jenkins has gone a lot in the weights now, and he wouldn't be for me. Also, Lahore. I mean, second to Western Rider, third in the novice hurdles, second to Exeter. I can't quite see why he's so short. I think some of these horses are far too short in the betting. One horse who isn't too short is Evan Williams' horse Silver Streak, who ran in the same race as Verdana Blue that day. You know, gets in here with young Mitchell Bastion, taking off a very handy 5, which means he's going to run off a 10 stone 6. Evans trained this horse for the race, and he's 16-1. He'll like the soft ground, and he could be a fair each-way punt as well. I'm hoping the ground isn't riding too tacky there, as I really do fancy this Verdana Blue. 19-1. Davy Russell, we need a special. Who wins? Let me know down below. The 10 past 4 is a 2 mile 7 novices handicap chase, and again we've got a Nicky Henderson favourite. Surprise, surprise, Nicky operates at a phenomenal strike rate at Newbury. Now I know this horse very well, reigning supreme. I've done my bollocks on him at Kempton on my birthday. It was Boxing Day. Unseated Nico when he's 6 lengths behind, 4 out, and he was still going okay. I read Nico's blog and he says he wasn't beaten at the time. The form's been franked with Hell's Kitchen winning. He's off a 1.34 here. He's had 2 runs at Newbury. He's won on both occasions. He obviously likes the track. The soft ground I don't think will hinder him. You know, I'd be hoping he can go really close here off a 10 stone 12. Nicky has lined this horse up. He's given him a nice break. 5-2 looks fair enough to me. And I'll be punting reigning supreme in that race. I think a lot of the opposition have all gone up in the weights. Ibis Daru for Paul, coming back after a year off. He's had his injuries. An interesting one there could be 3 Ways for Jamie Snowden. He's been running in some not good novice chases, and he's been pushing horses quite well. Always gives his running, and 3 Ways could run a decent race there. But I do like this reigning supreme for Michael Buckley, and I'm hoping pretty much it's just going to be a huge day for Nicky Henderson. He could win with Altior, reigning supreme, What's Wrong With You in the first, and hopefully Verdana Blue. I might have to do a lucky 15 with all of Nicky's runners. Now the final race on the card's a 2 mile bumper. It's a listed bumper, and it's a real quality affair. I was at Hereford the day Brewing Up a Storm won. I napped him up. He cost £250,000, and he absolutely destroyed his rivals with young Fergus Gregor on board. Champion jockey Richard Johnson takes over today, and I said to myself when I saw that horse that day, I'm going to keep on backing him until he gets beat. And I have to say I've backed him at 4-1 already. That's Brewing Up a Storm in the 440. I was at Newbury when Morning Vicar won, and if you get to re-watch the race, have a look at the way Nico de Bonville rode this horse. He never once used the whip. The gelding didn't really seem to know what he was doing, but in the last 2 furlongs he picked up really well under hands and heels riding and went on to win in quite comfortable fashion. Nicky said in his blog he's improving all the time, and it wouldn't surprise him to see him run a huge race. They'd be my 2 against the field there. But this horse Brewing Up a Storm for Ollie Murphy could be a potential star. The ground will hold, no fears whatsoever. A big strapping 5-year-old. I think we could see something special here, and I'm hoping that Brewing Up a Storm can win this and salute his claims to potentially going to Cheltenham for the champion bumper. A cracking card there at Newbury, and it's pretty much a Nicky Henderson D-Day, as it always is on these Super Sundays. What's Wrong With You 8-11 on, Altior 4-6 on, Verdana Blue into now 12s. I've tipped up 19s, Reigning Supreme 5-2, and then he's got a Morning Vicar at 13-2. So it could be a big day for Nicky Henderson. Let me know your best bet on the Newbury card down below. So skipping over to Warwick now, the 2 mile, the Kingmaker. I tipped this up during the week. I said I can't wait to see the beast that is St Calvados. There's 4 runners taking him on: St Calvados, North Hill Harvey, Jago de Charmille and Drumcliff, and they bet in the following order. The Saint is 4 to 7 on. If you missed that evens during the week, I'm sorry, I snuck in. North Hill Harvey 3s, Jago de Charmille 12s and Drumcliff 16s. Now, talking about Diego, Paul said he's probably going to hate the ground. For me, he's a no-no. I don't think Drumcliff is in this class after winning a handicap last time out. St Calvados, a big, powerful, massive, gigantic horse, went over to Newbury, absolutely destroyed Rummelock on the 30th of December. And then I was there at Newbury on the 17th of January when he battered Tree of Liberty. I tipped him up that day, and I was just so impressed by the way he made all the running, jumped his rivals silly. He's now rated 154. He's getting a monstrous £7 off a North Hill Harvey, who got easily beaten by Sco Royal last time at Sandown. I just think this race is all about St Calvados. I think it could be a potential star if he stays fit, if he stays sound. I'm hoping he's going to win this and turn up in the Arkle in really good form. I think he's unbeatable. I think he's going to lead all the way. I don't think North Hill Harvey will have any answers to his jumping prowess whatsoever. For me, St Calvados is the banker at Warwick. Going back one race over at Warwick, the 205 is a 2 mile 5 mares listed race, part of the OLGB sponsorship. And it's a decent race. Midnight Tour for Alan King. Been a bit disappointing recently. I couldn't be backing her today with the little penalty. Midnight Jazz, on the other hand, she's no mug whatsoever. Over at Sandown last time, she pushed Poppy K all the way to the line, ran a cracking race. She loves heavy soft ground. She's going to get that today. She had a massive run behind Vroom Vroom Mag back in the mare's hurdle at Doncaster last year. I remember that. I nearly done my absolute bollocks. I was sweating all the way to the winning line. And at Sandown in January, she pushed Lifeboat Mona all the way to the line. This could be a nice win for the small yard of Ben Case. Keelan Woods doing the steering. She's currently 9 to 4. She'd be my selection in the 5 past 2. Tricky looking race that, you know. Mares, when they're in form, they're in great form. But when they're not in form, they're just not in form. So much can change in the markets overnight with Irish racing, and I don't really like talking about handicaps too much, but Wishmore for Mouse Morris in the 10 past 2. It's a 2.5 mile handicap chase. Wishmore was quite impressive last time out, hammering the Informer. He's gone up £7, 13 days to recover. I don't think Mouse would be running the horse if he hadn't fully recovered. Rachel Blackmore's a really decent jockey. You know, he's a course and distance winner, Wishmore. And I'd like to think he has a lot more to give. I was quite impressed by Wishmore last time out. I backed him, and off a 1-2-5, you'd be hopeful he can do a bit more. For Mouse Morris, who remains in fairly decent form, doesn't have that many horses these days, but hopefully Mouse can have a winner. A really good quality mares race this, the 355. It's run over 2 miles. It's a listed race, and it's the usual story. It's Willie versus Gordon, and Willie here has a big odds-on shot in the shape of Benny Des Do, and she's taking on Dinara de Zobo, a mare who served us very well this year. Dinara, she's dropping back from 2.5 to 2. I'm not sure that's going to be ideal. Slightly worried about that. I'd say she'd definitely be better over 2.5 miles. And the vibes about this Benny Des Do is that she's really high class. She absolutely hosed up at Carlisle on her English debut. Prior to that, romped in at Limerick. And she could just be a little bit too good for Dinara de Zobo. She seems to have a lot of natural speed. It could pay to back the forecast here. Benny Dezu to beat Dinara de Zobo, but it's a quality affair there, and Willie also has the co-second favourite in the shape of Asturia. Current betting, Benny Dezu 7 to 4 on, Dinara de Zobo 7 to 2, Asturia 4 to 1. But I might have a little punt there on the old forecast. Benny Dezu to beat Dinara de Zobo. Quality race that. I do love Dinara though. Now, hopefully all of you are making some leeway with your own punting. Hopefully you're all making up your own Excel spreadsheets, tracking your bets, writing them down on a notepad, because remember, if you want to be a punter, you've got to get serious and set yourself targets. You don't need to punt every day. You need to have records, you need to write your bets down, and you need to have a point system which you can stick to. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Stick to what you're good at. Stick to your niche, and I know where my niche is. Now, talking about tomorrow just quickly, I'm probably going to have a double in the shape of St. Calvados. I'll be doing a lot of doubles with him. If he gets beat, I'm going to do my balls. But I might do some doubles and trebles with Altior and Native River. Obviously banking on Verdana Blue at 19-1. And I'm going to have a small each way bet on Oliver Sherwood's horse that I told you there, Book of Gold. Let me know your best punt of the day, your best each way bet of the day down below. 2% on Bet That. Great value there all the time. And I think that's pretty much it for today. Going to be at Newbury tomorrow. If you're going to be there, hit me up. Holler at your boy, the blogs. Short, fast and sweet today. I need to do a few bits and bobs before tomorrow. And I'll see you all at Newbury. Please don't rain all day. I freaking hate it when it rains all day long on a Saturday. Over and out, guys. Have a good one. And remember, always, always try and keep it positive. I'm joined by the King of Irish Racing, Willie Mullins. Willie, it's been a tremendous 2 days for you here at this new Leopardstown feature. You've had 6 winners. What would be Willie Mullins' highlight of those 6?
God, I can't remember. I tell you what, my low light was Kilolton Vic, I think, just falling in the last. That was very disappointing, yeah. Right,
and Min was back to his electric best, but at the same time, York Hill, the Enigma, slightly disappointed. The pros and cons?
I don't know what we're going to do with York Hill. We'll go home and have a think about it, but Min was very good.
He was super. Yeah. And like, I know everyone bugs you about Forheen the whole time. He got beat there. What would your views be going forward to the champion hurdle now?
Well, if he just the little spark returns, he'll be fine. I think he's not far off. He just needs a bit of spark, that's all.
And finally, Willie, a horse that I love is Footpad. He jumps for fun and so much tremendous natural speed.
He's probably the best one to take out of the weekend, I think. He just does everything so easily. He's the one I think we're all looking forward to going over to Cheltenham.
And finally, Willie, last question. Give us a sneaky little dark horse we don't know about. Give us a Willie special.
Oh, well, maybe just... clue. I mean,
too true.
What have we got? I mean, you know about your demographic. You went now for Willie. He won in punches.
Well done this weekend, Willie. Top man.